Yo, what is up, YouTube? Today we are going to be talking about a guide for the Cancer Cup. Everything you need to know about Cancer Cup, what you need to prepare, how you can raise your parents, how you can raise your aces, what are the good strategies, how the map looks. Everything is going to be covered in this video. Remember to like, share, and sub if you guys learned something here, if this was helpful to you at all. Also use code MAMBO for 10% off your gamer subs. Now, to the guide. Cancer Cup, what is it? It's going to be on Tokyo turf. It's going to be a turf track. It's going to be 1,600 meters. It's going to be a left-handed track as well, or I guess counterclockwise, right? It is going to be on good condition. Now, this is actually going to be good. It's not going to be firm, okay? Previously, in different cups, we did talk about how good would be translated to firm. It is gonna be good. That means wet conditions is going to apply here. Okay, the wet conditions skill. This is gonna be in summer. It's gonna be sunny, right? Those are the conditions for the Cancer Cup. So what does the track look like? It looks like this. So notice over here, the acceleration mark, the late race portion, right, is gonna technically start on the final corner, right? It's gonna be still within a final corner, but it is going to go into a straight, and you don't really have that much of a distance between this and the finish line, but that's what it looks like. What we have over here is a map, or the sort of cross-section of the Tokyo 1600 meter, and what's important to note are the acceleration skills are going to be good. So basically for this Cancer Cup, Seiun Sky, who did make it in time for the Gemini Cup and wasn't like that great for Gemini Cup, she is going to be very, very good here. Why is like Seiun Sky going to be good here? Well, it's because her unique skill, the angling and scheming skill, which is a 40 centimeter per second squared like acceleration skill on Seiun Sky, for anyone that's inheriting angling and scheming, it's going to be like 20, right? It's going to be the best acceleration skill for this map, for this track. It's going to activate pretty much exactly the right time that it needs to, which is when you enter the late race. And you'll notice why is because there's still a bit of a corner here. Angling and scheming is an acceleration skill, works on the final corner, right? But also with a caveat, it needs to be during the late race, so it's perfect. It is exactly perfect for this map. Now, the only thing is that you'll see eventually later that there are going to be some strategies meant to sort of block it, because this sort of distance here is pretty short, but we'll talk about that a little later. Besides that though, angling scheming is going to activate at the perfect time. Very, very good acceleration skill, probably the best one considered for this map. The other good acceleration skill is going to be encroaching shadow and straightaway spurt. So again, end closers are going to be pretty good for this track, for the Cancer Cup. Now, what else do we have over here that is worthy of like mentioning, worthy of noting? Something that is really different for this track that wasn't really in the Gemini Cup, I'm pretty sure, or the Taurus, is going to be stat thresholds, okay? So every race course, or rather like configuration for the race course, right? Like 1600 meter, Tokyo has different distances, right? But for particularly the 1600 meter track, we're going to have bonus stat thresholds that need to be met, or rather will reward you for meeting certain thresholds with an extra speed boost. What does that look like? Well, it looks like this. Okay. So for the stamina and guts, right? If you have these stats at this threshold, you'll only get a 5% speed stat. If you have it within here, you'll get 10. If you have it within here, you'll get 15. So basically, in order to get sort of additional speed boosts, right, you want to sort of meet the stat thresholds closest to where these stats need to be. So for example, right, with regards to stamina, for a 1600 meter track, usually you want around maybe 580, around 600-ish stamina. Well, for this track specifically, because you're going to be rewarded for extra speed, you want it to be at least 601. You want at least to be 601. And for guts, it's like, okay, well, for guts, what are you going to do? I mean, you could leave it under 300, but look, you get like less speed stat out of it, right? So ideally, it's going to be 301. And any more investment into guts is just not going to be very worth it, right? So ideally, you are looking at stat thresholds of 601 and 301 between stamina and guts. These are the minimum that you want, and what you'll get out of it is a 12.5% speed boost. This is just like, because there are 2 stats, some tracks have 1, the gain is half for each. So 12.5% speed boost, that's what you're looking for, that's what you need for this. And it's a hidden stat bonus, it's a hidden stat modifier. Long story short, just get 601 stamina and 301 guts in order to meet these thresholds. Now, that is like, if you look at it very simply, right? What you really need is to account for also bad mood, right? And if you're accounting for bad mood, and you also want to make sure that you're talking about your strategy, you'll see later that pace chasers are not very good, so I wouldn't really worry about this. But essentially, to account for bad mood, okay, pretty much everyone are going to want these type of stats. You want as, like, to cap out your speed, you want as much power as you can fit, you want a little more, maybe, than 613 stamina, without considering heals, okay? But that's to, again, account for bad mood, right? And 307 guts, right? 400, 600 wit should be good. If you're playing like a front runner, you want to be way more on the end of like 600 wit. As many, not as much wit as you can, but like pretty decently high wit, because for a front runner, wit is a skill, or rather a stat, that determines position keep and being able to maintain a good position within your strategy. And basically, for front runners, they really want to be first place. The reason why is because you want to activate angling and scheming. Let's take a look at angling and scheming really quick, because I feel like, you know, we're talking about it a lot, but you don't really exactly know maybe what it is. Angling and scheming is an acceleration skill that activates when you're in the lead on a corner in the late race, right? So it needs to be a corner, which is fine, right? Because again, this small part is still a corner, and it needs to be within the late race. The only condition that's really tricky about angling and scheming, and what's kind of going to define the meta of Cancer Cup, is that you need to be in first place in order for it to work. So you need to be in first place somewhere within this portion, right? Within this portion, you need to be first place in order to hit it. Pretty much only one Uma in the entire race is going to hit it. So it's going to be very competitive. It's going to be very contentious. But whoever hits this first place position in this zone as a front runner with the angling and scheming skill, either inherited or you could play Seiun Sky, is going to get a huge boost and pretty much win the race, right? That's what we're looking at. So that's Cancer Cup meta in a nutshell. What are the good skills? What do you need to prepare for? Well, these are the guaranteed green skills, or the green skills that are for sure going to activate because of these conditions, right? You're going to have a standard distance because it's 1600 meters, okay? You need and want Tokyo Race Course, okay? And these are what can give you it. You have wet conditions, which is very interesting, but wet conditions is what is going to activate if you are on good, soft, or heavy sort of track conditions. And again, we are on good track conditions. Sunny days is going to be okay. Again, remember, look at the icon. This is for guts. This is going to be nice for front runners, and you'll see why, because we need to activate a certain skill with very early race skills. So this is only really going to be relevant for front runners because, again, it's a gut skill. But the speed skills we have are left-handed and summer runner. And what you'll notice here is that there's not a lot of sources for these skills. So these cards, these support cards, are going to come into sort of big effect for our ace decks and our parent decks. Moving on from the guaranteed green skills, we have some of the best skills for the race, right? And so what we did over here in order to determine this is I went over here to the race simulator. We put in the ideal stats like 601 or 17 stamina, whatever it was, guts, wit, power, right? And we looked at the skill chart and we looked at it for all the different positions, okay? And these are the most impactful skills listed on average, right? The mean, right? On average, angling and scheming is going to be the best skill for front runners, right? No surprise there. Angling and scheming is going to be the best skill, then followed by Figdoria per plancha. That is the signature unique skill of El Condor Pasa, right? We're not going to go through every single one, but I do want to mention some like standout skills, right? Escape Artist is a potential level 5 skill for Seiun Sky, right? And you're going to see Unrestrained as well being okay. I would say like it is kind of a, I guess, a gamble, right? So probably not, but Speed Eater is going to be very good. But what is very, very important for front runners that's not really mentioned in this bracket is going to be Groundwork. Now, Groundwork is an acceleration skill that activates during the early race and after activating many skills in the early race. How do you activate so many skills in the early race, and how many do you need? You need 3 skills to activate in the early race. And what are these skills? Well, it's gonna be the green skills. The green skills activate at the very start of the race if the conditions apply, and obviously all of these are guaranteed. So for front runners, what you need are basically 3 skills that are gonna for sure proc in the early game, in the early race. That's gonna be the biggest source of that is gonna be the green skills, and you need Groundwork, because the sooner you get the first place position, the faster you're able to maintain it, the better, right? That's essentially the game of front runners, to try and get first place and maintain it as much as you can. Okay, so Groundwork is going to be very, very important. Speed Eater is also going to be really nice too for a front runner, as you can see over here. Speed Eater is a debuff skill that only activates when you're in the lead, that's first place, during the mid race. Okay, so essentially this is going to help us determine like what strategies are good on average, the skills that are available to these strategies, which strategies are going to be good, which sort of Umas are going to be fine and like excel in this course. And so what you'll see is front runners are good. What you'll also see is that pace chasers don't really have very good averages. You'll see that the means, or rather like the gains you can get per skill, are very limited, very little. You have mile corners and pace chaser corners, obviously, but you also have those for other strategies as well. So it's not very special, as you can see. Pace chaser just doesn't have very good skills aside from the other strategies. So on top of that, you do have higher stamina requirements because pace chaser just is very stamina inefficient. Front runners you might see is pretty sort of close to pace chaser, but what front runners also have is the most consistent, the best sort of acceleration skill in the game, and as well they have Groundwork, right? Or rather, they make the best use of Groundwork. Pace chasers are going to be kind of ass, and I would avoid trying to raise a pace chaser for this track. What you do have, however, is you do have late surgers and end closers having some pretty good skills for this race in abundance, right? Let's Pump Some Iron, that's Major Orion's unique skill. You have Furious Feet on your left, right? That's going to be on like Grass Wonder, right? Really good acceleration skills, and also just great skills that are going to be applicable for the Cancer Cup. End closers as well are going to be pretty good for this race, because Encroaching Shadow and Straightaway Spurt. Again, if you take a look at the race diagram here, you can see that the late race portion almost immediately turns into a straight. It's not going to be a straight like immediate, like as you enter it, but it's almost immediately going to be here. So it's the second best thing to angling and scheming, meaning end closers going to be very, very strong. End closers are going to be amazing. Besides this, right? Besides what's mentioned over here, what's important to know for end closers is that there are some very weird acceleration skills that are actually going to matter quite a bit for end closers. And what those skills are actually going to be Redshift and Shooting for Victory. Now, Redshift and Shooting for Victory, these were very key skills for Taurus Cup. Why? Is because when you entered the late race, it was pretty much when you entered the final corner, right? Now, what you'll notice here during the Cancer Cup is that the final corner is way into the mid race, right? It's not at the late race. So getting acceleration here, anywhere from this section, is just not very good, right? However, if you are putting Redshift or Shooting for Victory, these corner acceleration skills, on someone like an end closer, well, then that means you might activate your Redshift or Shooting for Victory somewhere here or somewhere here, right? And during the duration while it's keeping it up, then you can keep that acceleration as you enter the late race. Maybe you activate it over here. There's a lot of red arrows. Maybe you activate it over here. That's fine. If you do, great. And you'll get that acceleration. You'll have a big leg up over the competition and start to reach your new target speed faster. So Redshift and Shooting for Victory, really interesting skills that are going to be fine for End Closer because they're going to attain the position they need. Redshift, I think you need to be 5th place and up. And Shooting for Victory, I think you need to be 4th place and up. Later, because End Closers just are going to attain those positions a little later, right? Moving on, we have how they compare to everyone else. End Closers are going to be the best. They're going to be very closely related to Frontrunners. You could probably argue that Frontrunners are going to be better than End Closers. It's greater than equal then, right? I don't know. I do think that End Closers have some better, like, more abundance of relevant skills, right? But it's still the fact that Frontrunners don't need to make up a distance, right? They are in the lead and they're going to have a really good lead. And that's why they're not super dependent on like having so much abundance of these skills that give distance, that give lengths. Moving on though, late surges will be like a close second, followed by a huge distance for Pace Chasers. Pace Chasers just doesn't have very good skills. You have team comps. What are some team comps that we can have, or like what should we expect? Well, I would say for the most part, you're going to expect 2 major team comps, and that's going to be a Blockushin, which we'll talk about a bit, but essentially a Blockushin is Sakura Bakshino is like the inspiration, but it's a front runner designed to troll all the other front runners, essentially, right? Dedicated for it, specialized in it, and essentially supposed to deny the angling and scheming. And if you're gonna do a Blockushin, or rather like who Blockushin helps the most, it's gonna be the late surgers and end closers, right? They're gonna be the ones that benefit from someone trolling all the front runners the most. So Blockushin and 2 late or end closers is going to be a very typical team composition. The other team composition that's going to be typical are 3 front aces. And essentially the idea behind that is you're throwing as many shots as you can to take advantage and get that angling and scheming and essentially win the race. You could also just go for 3 late or end aces, right? Just maybe you don't want to raise a Blockushin, that's fine. Besides that, there is El Condor Pasa, who is going to be pretty good, even as a pace chaser, because basically as a pace chaser, this is the only skill that's really good, right? And consistent and really nice. So El Condor Pasa can be played as a pace chaser. She can also be played as a front runner. El Condor Pasa is a unique character who you could kind of like put into any other comp. Notable Umas that are going to be good. I'm not going to have a tier list or anything. I'm just going to label which ones kind of stand out, and there's going to be quite a bit, okay? But Seiun Sky is going to be very good. She has the best unique skill in the game, and as the one that holds it, she's going to have the most benefit from it, right? So 40 centimeter per second squared. She has very good innate skills. She has front runner savvy. She has tail held high. She also has the gold skill escape artist that's on potential level 5. She's also the best front runner parent, okay? After that, you have Smart Falcon, right? And by the way, these aren't in any order, but this is just what I have it in. Smart Falcon has a really good unique skill. The only thing that's really bad about Smart Falcon is that she has E-Turf, which is pretty hard to do, and that means essentially you have, I guess, less good sort of parents, or you're more restrictive on what parents you need, because you need to get that turf rating up as high as you can. She is really good, though. The unique skill is a mid-race velocity and acceleration, I believe, that fights and allows Smart Falcon to fight for first place position. It's very, very strong, and essentially whoever is able to get first place, and sort of within this window, because again, only one person can have first place in this window, right, is essentially going to have a huge advantage over everyone else, right? So Smart Falcon is good. and she has good innate skills. She has wet conditions. She has front runner savvy. She also has really good stat growth, 20% speed, 10% power. Very, very good. El Contrapasa has a very good unique skill as well. You can play her as a pace chaser. She's like the only viable pace chaser there, but she is very well going to be a very good front runner as well. And if you can, you definitely, it is imperative, it's very important that you raise her front aptitude to at least an A rating. Wit is very important for front runners because it affects position keep. It affects their ability to be in a good position for their strategy. And that basically means it affects their ability to be first place, which is what you need for angling and scheming. Great stat growth. You have 20% speed, 10% wit. Daiwa Scarlet has a really good unique skill. Very good mid-race. It's supposed to be at the 50% mark. You get a burst of speed and acceleration. This can carry over into the late race, allow you to accelerate, right? And it's also just very consistent, so long as you're able to get first place. It helps her maintain that first place as well to get the, angling and scheming. Very good front runner. 10% speed growth is good. Very easy career. She also has unyielding spirit, which is a very, very good skill for the Cancer Cup. This is from a random event, but you can choose it, and it's called Enjoy Number 1. Moving on, you have Sakura Bakshino. Very, very easy career, as you probably understand. I think she's like the most recommended front runner, or rather the most recommended character for beginners. She also has 20% speed, 10% wit, great unique in a meta full of front runners, because what she needs is like people on her sides, I think, right, that are blocking her. But if she has that, then she can be able to fight for first place. She activates during the mid race, I believe, and that allows her again to play for the angling and scheming, either to use it herself or to deny it, right? Hence the Blockushin. So what is Blockushin? If you're able to be first in this position, doesn't matter if you take advantage of angling and scheming, if you have it or not, but if you're first here and you're past this window, no one else is going to get angling and scheming. And the idea of Blockushin and Sakura Bakshino, right, is that this type of character, if you run her as an ace, it's just a regular frontrunner. If you're running her as a Blockushin, like a frontrunner troll character, what you want is as much power, as much wit as you can, a lot of mid-race velocity skills. You want the groundwork as well, but you just need to deny the first place position for 33 meters. With maximum power, you'll have the most acceleration, and you'll have the strongest ability to be first place, essentially, as well as maximum wit. So that's what you're looking at for a Blockushin strat. Again, you can run her as an ace or as a Blockushin. Moving forward, you have Seiun Suzuka. The real strength of Seiun Suzuka in this cup is that she's just easy to build. She has left-handed as an innate skill. I think it's a potential level 3, which is really, really easy and accessible. She has concentration. She has fast pace. These are really good front runner skills. You have 20% speed growth. She is a good parent. She's fine. But the only real downside to her is that her unique is not very good. Moving on, you have Maruzensky. The only real strength of Maruzensky is that she's pretty easy to build. She has pretty good stat growth as well. The focus is on her level 4 potential. The only problem with Maruzensky is that her unique is not very good on this track. Not as a front runner. As a front runner, it's not very good. That said, right, you could run Maruzensky as an end closer and use her unique skill to sort of your advantage. Keep in mind that she has like a G rating as an end closer, so you might think that that's pretty bad, but wit is only, again, very, very important. This is very simplified, but wit is only really important for front runners. For end closers, it's not that important. So you will see, or what? Well, I don't know if you will see, but you may see end closer Maruzenskis, essentially is what I'm trying to say. Okay. Moving forward, you have Mayano Top Gun Wedding Edition. This is a great unique skill. It's a 2 type of condition unique skill, right? And the one that you have available for front runners is the velocity boost during the final corner. That's going to be good because it could possibly carry over into that late race, allow you to fight for first, allow you to get angling and scheming, and essentially run away with the game. She also has focus on her kit. She has good growth. You have 10 speed, stamina, and wit, right? Which you are probably going to need some stamina growth in order to meet that 600 stamina and hopefully not run a stamina card. So very, very nice Uma for Cancer Cup. Finally, you have Fuji Kisaki, who is not available right now, but Fuji Kisaki will be available later on in the cup. And she has a great unique skill. Very, very good. It's a greatly skill, actually one of the few out there, right? If we take a look at Fuji Kisaki, she has a greatly increased velocity skill when breaking out this the front on the final straight. Now, usually velocity skill on the late race portion is not that good, and the final straight is pretty much you know, as you enter the late race, you're on the final straight. But if you notice that this is a sort of like a just in case skill. If you're being threatened for first place, right? Essentially what Fuji does is she turns on the jets and just blasts off, right? It's only if someone is kind of behind you for more than 1 second, and it's activating on the last 300 meters of the track. So it's a very nice skill that kind of like is a just in case, turn on the jets and run away with the game, right? Unyielding Spirit is on her innate kit as well, which is really, really good, right? This is one of the best skills for Cancer Cup. You also have the golden version of it, Big Sisterly. You have Mile Corners. You have Shifting Gears. She just has really nice skills, right? And so you can make her as a front runner. That's basically what I'm aiming to do. So Fuji Kisaki is definitely a very nice Uma for this track. Moving on from front runners, right? And again, anyone you could build with, you know, Groundwork and getting all these relevant skills are going to be nice. You'll find this drawing, by the way, in my notes. I'm going to have it in the description below, okay? Now, besides that, though, what else do we got? We have late and end closers, okay? So you don't need end aptitude, so don't worry about having like your end aptitude being lower. You don't really need it. Measure Orion has Rising Dragon on potential level 5, good stat growth, and her unique is a gamble. You'll kind of notice that anyone that's an late surger is kind of a gamble Uma anyway. Her unique is Let's Pump Some Iron, and essentially if she's able to, you know, be in the position, I think she needs to be 6th place at the right time. It's a huge boost and can allow her to win the game. Moving forward, you have Grass Wonder, good stat growth, speed, and power. These are the biggest stats you want for the Cancer Cup. Great potentials. You have On Your Left, you have Pilfer, you have Home Stretch, Haste. Pilfer is a mid-race velocity skill. Home Stretch Haste is a end-game velocity skill. And On Your Left is literally late race acceleration as a late surger. Very, very good, right? She does require potential, so she is going to be a little more expensive, but maybe if you built her for Taurus Cup, you know, you already have access to it. The unique skill doesn't seem to be very suitable for this track. You have Vodka. Vodka has an okay unique skill, but she has very good innate skill. She has Slick Surge, which is, again, late race acceleration. That's kind of like the white version of On Your Left. You have Updrafters. I think that's another acceleration, or I think it's a velocity skill. Let me just double check. Updrafters. It's very impactful. Updrafters is an acceleration skill, and it's going to be activated on the late race. So basically, it's another Slick Surge On Your Left, right? Shifting Gears as well. Very, very good innate skills. Great growth rate. 10% speed, 20% power, and good potentials, right? So if I take a look at Vodka, let's just take a look at her. Vodka already has Updrafters and Slick Surge. These are the best acceleration skills for the mile distance track that she just has already on her kit. She has straightaway recovery too, which is always nice, right? You have mile straightaways. You also have Furious Feet, which is the golden version of Updrafters, which is very, very good. Essentially, what I'm trying to say is that already on her kit innately, she is very well, sort of, very good to win, and she only gets better with the more potential she has. Very good free to play. Very good if you don't have that many resources. Vodka is kind of like very straightforward character for this Cancer Cup. If you don't know what to build, then I would say build Vodka. She's very, very easy to build. Frontrunners are going to be strong. The only problem with frontrunners is that it's kind of restrictive. You need Saiyan Sky unique skill. If you don't run Saiyan Sky unique skill, do not build frontrunners, right? And also you want Groundwork, right? So late surgers are definitely going to be a little more accessible for free to play. and vodka is like a very easy pick for that. Okay, free to play friendly for sure. Moving on, you have special week, good unique velocity skill, very very solid. You have wet conditions, you have outer swell, which is really good for this track, and in body and mind, which is essentially in homestretch haste, but it's a golden version, right? 20% stamina, 10% wit, so she has bad stat growth, but pretty good potentials. You have Ogre Cap, great unique skill. You don't really need that much explanation. Triumphant Pulse is just really good as an end game velocity skill. You have great stat growth, 20% speed, 10% power, right? Nimble on level 4, Nimble Navigator, and also easy to build. If you have Ogre Cap, then definitely build her. Vodka is free for every single account, but Ogre Cap, if you also have her, I would say is a very, very easy to build character, sort of plug and play. Moving on, you have Fantasy Pasa. Her unique skill is not going to be very good, and she is going to be out. She's not out right now, but she is going to be out for the Cancer Cup. Good stat growth, 15 speed, 15 guts. It's all right? You just need the speed. You have great innates, great potentials, and she's easy to build as well. Let's just take a look at it really quickly. Updrafters, outer swell, right? Mid-race velocity, late race acceleration, homestretch haste, unyielding spirit on awakening, the golden version of it of Updrafters, Furious Feet, 1.5 million CC, which is really good, and Rising Dragon. Like, she has great potentials. She keeps getting better with absolutely every single potential level, right? Definitely a really cool Uma for this track specifically. I would definitely like to build El Condor Pasa Fantasy if I could afford her. Moving forward though, you have Nadita Brian. Good unique skill, good potential. She has Lone Wolf and In Body and Mind. Again, Homestretch Haste golden version, and good, stat growth. Now moving on to sort of like the end closers, you have Gold Chip, who has a good unique skill. Remember like how effective that was in Gemini Cup. It's going to be effective here as well. You have Go Home Specialist, which is that one healing skill that you need. You'll enjoy having one heal skill. Okay growth, 20 stamina, 10% power, right? It's just okay. But the real strength of end closers really is that they have access to straightaway spurt, which is the end closer acceleration skill that's like most relevant, that's very, very strong for this track. And what's cool about like straightaway spurt this time around in Cancer Cup is that it comes on Hishi Amazon, which is an SR power card. So very, very good. Yeah, very nice. Moving forward, you have Nadita Taishin, who definitely was a lot like very overrated in the Gemini Cup. I don't think Nadita Taishin will be overrated for this one though. The reason why is because why she failed or was very short of expectations in Gemini Cup, at least my expectations, was because it's very hard to train her. It's very hard to get the stamina you need. It's also very hard to, get the heals that you wanted. In Cancer Cup, you don't really need heals. I know I say over here, Go Home Specialist. You can get one, right? And Sleeping Lion wouldn't be that bad either because I don't think anyone's going to run like a troll Urara, right? So I think she is going to be good because again, she doesn't have stamina growth, but that's fine. You have 10% speed growth. You have the best acceleration in the game, Encroaching Shadow, for this track. And her unique is fine. It's good for this track. It's a final corner velocity skill, which again could help carry you into the late race, right? And Marzensky finally, her unique skill is like a gamble, but if it pops off at the right time, it's going to be good for this track. Moving forward, you have the parents. What are the good parent Umas? Well, pretty simple. Seiun Sky is the best frontrunner parent. You have Victoria Perplancha in El Condor Pasa. Definitely very strong. It's a velocity and acceleration skill, and it's very likely to hit that acceleration at a very right time. So let's just take a look here. Victoria Perplancha. You have on the final straight, right? On the final straight, as you enter it, as long as you have enough HP, if you're in second or first place, you get speed and acceleration. Very, very relevant. Very, very good skill for the Cancer Cup because, again, the final straight is pretty much right at the start of the late race, right? You also have Metro McQueen, who I think is going to be pretty good because it's a final corner velocity skill. This is going to be as a parent, okay? As a parent, a final corner velocity skill. that activates when you're in the lead, right, is just going to be nice to help you get your angling and scheming off. So definitely, I would say these are the standout front runner parents. But of course, like, Seiun Suzuka is also a good one to mention because I think she doesn't have that many aptitudes, right? So it's easy and nice to get, like, you know, the sort of aptitude sparks that you want. Okay, moving on. Late and end parents. Measure Ryan is probably the best acceleration skill you have for the late surgers and end closers. And then you also have Maruzensky. You also have Taiki's Shuttle. Remember, this is really only for end closers, because you want these Umas, these end closers, to get the right position for their unique a little later, right? A little later, deeper into the final corner. Moving forward, these are the velocity skills that typically require you to pass someone, right? Or pass like multiple people in the case of Rudolph. For Triumphant Pulse, it's going to be only relevant for anyone that's not a front runner because, again, or rather, I didn't say again, but this skill doesn't activate for front runners, right? You need to be second or behind. So very good for late surgers and end closers, not so much for front runners. We're not going to really talk about pace chasers. It's just not anything I recommend. Moving forward, and finally, we're going to talk about the good cards. The good cards for your decks, for parents and for aces. Universally, you have Fuji Kiseki. You run the SR or the rare version. Doesn't really matter. The reason why, she has Summer Runner. Summer Runner is the green skill that activates on summertime. Gives you velocity. It's good. Yaino Muteki has... not surprisingly, is another parent card that's going to be really nice. She just has your tail held high, home stretch haze, ramp up, right? All the sort of combo skills for tail held high, as well as playtime's over, right? This is on the second chain event. You click the bottom option so that you could get 3 hints of playtime's over. You also end the event chain. Keep in mind, so you're not going to get it's on, but you don't need it's on. You want playtime's over for your parents. Daitaku Helios is especially good. Very, very good card, especially for parents, because at maximum break, you're going to get that hint frequency, which is really nice. While on top of this, you're going to get really good skills. You're going to get ramp up, you're going to get mile corners, shifting gears. These are all very relevant skills for Cancer Cup. Slipstream is really nice. Speed Eater, which is like the best sort of debuff for all the Umas, especially for front runners. So you want to make sure this is on a front runner. Definitely a very, very good skill. So, and because she has hint frequency, very good parent card for sure. You have Shinko Windy as well. This is the new SR speed card. And why Shinko Windy is good? Well, I mean, speed cards are just very nice and helps out parent runs quite a bit. But besides that, she has wet conditions. She has hesitant front runners, so she's going to debuff the very relevant sort of meta whale characters, right? And she has shifting gears and unyielding spirit, which is also very, very good. Moving on, you have front runners, aka get groundwork for your parents. Okay, that's basically the name of the game for raising a front runner parent, is get groundwork. So Seiun Suzuka doesn't have groundwork, but she has focus. She has front runner like straightaways and corners, I think. She has front runner savvy, right? She has very good skills for front runners, so definitely really nice to have. And make it into a parent. But for the ones that have groundwork, you have Air Groove, who doesn't have that many other skill hints, so I would say is like sort of the front runner, so to speak, pun and unintended, for getting groundwork. You also have Gold Chip. Now, Gold Chip has like a million different skill hints that she can give you, but she's still very good because the skill hints, when you borrow a maximum break stamina Gold Chip, it needs to be maximum break. It can't be lower. She gives you the maximum amount of skill hint levels that you can, and so it automatically prunes, and so that means that as soon as you click a skill hint from her, you won't get the same skill hint from her again, right, during that career run. And so eventually, hopefully, you'll get groundwork. Ogre Cap is another source of groundwork, but I'll be honest, she has a lot of different skill hints, and unlike Gold Chip, even if you get a maximum break version of her, she's not going to give you the max level hint, right? I'm pretty sure. Let me just double check that because maybe I'm talking out of my ass. Ogre Cap, hint level maximum break, you only get level 2. So you're not going to get like there's a lot of skills here. Groundwork is pretty hard to get. Ines Fujin is a very standout frontrunner parent card. Why? Is because she has Moxie, which is a healing skill for frontrunners. She has Slipstream. She has, well, Slipstream's not that great for frontrunners, but Playtime's Over is, and Speed Eater is, right? And Moxie on an event, fast-paced. Fast-paced is a white version of Escape Artist, which is what Seiun Sky has, right? It's a mid-race velocity skill. Very, very good skill. And so I highly recommend Ines Fujin as one of your parent cards. Moving on, you have Late Surgers. Winning Ticket is going to have your Late Surger great skills. Position Pilfer, Outer Swell, I believe the On Your Left skill as well, right? The white version of it, I believe. Slick Surge, there you go. You have Late Surger Corners from the Guts card, I believe specifically, right? So either of these cards would be pretty good on your Late Surger parents. Another one that will be really nice is Mejiro Dober as your SR Wit card. The reason why, she has Unyielding Spirit in her events, right? Which is seen over here. If you take a look, you have Unyielding Spirit. You also have Slick Surge as well as part of her events. Sunny Days is going to be relevant to, or rather like something you could get, and Late Surger Savvy as well on top of that. End closers, if frontrunners want Groundwork, end closers want Straightaway Spurt. And so who gives Straightaway Spurt? It's literally only these two cards. The rare versions as well. If you want the rare Hishi Amazon or the rare gold ship, I would say this gold ship, you cannot run the rare version. It must be a max limit break version, okay? Very important. It must be max, okay? It must be max limit break because, again, you need the hints to prune, okay? So max limit break on the gold ship. Other than that, I mean, there's Hishi Amazon as well. Moving forward, though, however, like, you don't really need, like, Straightaway Spurt too much in Cancer Cup specifically. Like, you don't need Straightaway Spurt as a parent. The reason why is because Hishi Amazon is a pretty good statistic power card. And so for aces, right? Good cards for aces. You'll notice that for end closers, Hishi Amazon still finds her way here. So as long as you have her, as long as you get the hint, obviously more chances, more opportunities. If you have the parents, it's going to help. It's going to be better. But you could also just run her as well because she's a power card and it's nice. She's a good card. Besides that, Sweep Tosho has After School Stroll and Trick Rear, which is okay. It's all right for like end closers. Speed cards though are just in general going to be very good. Going back to like the good cards for aces, let's just talk about the universally good cards. Vodka is going to be a beast. She's the best stat stick for power cards for anyone, right? If you borrow a max limit break version of her, she has really high specialty priority. This is multiplied by this. You have really high friendship training boosts. You have mood effect. You have, as well, relevant hints. Okay. So you have very high hint frequencies of Tokyo Racecourse. That's where the track is on. You have Homestretch Haste. You have Mile Straightaways. You have Straightaway Acceleration. You have Slick Surge, Updrafters. Very, very good skills. This one is for late surges, but Updrafters is a mile distance skill that's just anyone can use. So very, very good. Very, very, very nice. Vodka is a very good card for this track. Daitaka Helios, we talked about it for the parent card. She's also a fine stat stick, and she has the relevant hints, so definitely a very good one. Very good power card. This is Fuji Kiseki Wit card. Again, only source of frontrunner, or rather, summer runner. And frontrunners want some wit cards, right? So, or rather, maybe just one. This is going to be a good source of wit, for sure. Shinko Windy is an SR speed card. Again, really good skills, and SR speed cards are pretty good. That's why over here you just see speed. Any speed card that is SR or higher, not SR or higher, any SR speed cards, so I'll just put that note here. Any SR speed cards are going to be fine, essentially. SSRs is a little bit of a different issue, but, you know, Kita-san Black, the free-to-play sort of special week speed card, those are the ones that are good, and Biko Pegasus as well. Moving forward, Mejiro Dober is a good roaming wit card. Stat stick that also, again, has relevant skills. She has Unyielding Spirit, which is really nice. You also have the Marvelous Sunday, who has tail held high. She has as well, I think, a different skill like ramp up or something, right? Yeah, ramp up, tail held high, straight away adept, right? So she helps you get your combo for tail held high, essentially. Also, hesitant frontrunners, which is pretty relevant in this meta. Moving on, frontrunners, what cards do they want? Science Suzuka just has a lot of good, relevant, hints for frontrunners, as well as she's a decent stat stick. She's okay. You have, however, Mihono Bourbon. Mihono Bourbon is a good stat stick, and on top of that, she also has frontrunner straightaways and frontrunner corners. So very, very good power card to have, and power cards are in season for the Cancer Cup. So definitely consider running her. She also has focus, which is really nice. El Condorpasa. El Condorpasa is pretty much a power stat stick, similar to Vodka. Not as good as Vodka as a stat stick, but if you are able to get her, right? She has training effectiveness 10%, which is nice. But she also has hints that are relevant. Namely, she has 2 green hints. You'll notice that green hints are kind of hard to get for this track specifically. She has 2 of them on her kit, which is nice. Standard distance and sunny days. Remember, you need to activate groundwork by having 3 early race skills work, right? So having 2 of them on her card is always really, really nice. You also have the sunny days as an event. If you look at Secret Notebook, you can choose to learn sunny days, which is probably going to be pretty relevant. So as this power stat stick, which you probably want some power, El Condorpasa for frontrunner is going to be very good. Late surgers, the event free-to-play special week is going to be nice because she has Outer Swell. Outer Swell is over here, right? She also has Wet Conditions, which is, you know, an extra power, never hurts. You also have Homestretch Haste, okay? So very good late surger speed card, even though a lot of her skills does seem to be for pace chasers. She has good relevant late surger skills. You have Asian Flash, which we already know is a late surger speed card. She also has standard distance, which is relevant for this track. Metro Dober has Unyielding Spirit, but she also has Slick Surge, and this is specifically the SR Wit card. The SSR event free-to-play card does not have Slick Surge in her events, so do not use her. Use the SR Metro Dober, especially if you have her Max Limit Break. Very nice card because Slick Surge and Unyielding Spirit. Besides that, yeah, I mean, end closers, Sweep Tosho has the After School Stroll and Trick Rear. But yeah, I think that is it in a nutshell for Cancer Cup. This is all I know. This is all you need to know for Cancer Cup. Train your parents. Start training your parents now, and plan your team. Remember, we have the team comps over here. This document, my notes, is going to be located in the description below. Make sure you like and subscribe if you learned anything, if this was helpful to you at all, and use code MAMBO for 10% off your gamer subs. There's nothing in here because I drank it all, and I will see you on the next one.